What's up, fellas? What's up?
What's up?
The boys are back in town.
Dude, we're in tall chairs.
Man, Street Smart Christian today. Be About It Studios. You didn't know that. We changed it to Be About It Studios.
Yeah.
Today, I am joined by a mechanic, a pilot, and a Walmart door greeter. And as you guys know, I am a missionary. Yep. He's one of those door greeters that wears shirts with businesses on it, so people think he works for important places.
And hand out cards.
Yes. He got those
Other people's
made on Vistaprint.
other people's business
He
cards.
just Google searching.
Yeah.
He
Look me up.
Google searching.
Dude.
A JPEG and put it on a Vistaprint card.
Yeah, that's way too much. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's not my operation. Is just purely
Man, we have
other people's business.
we have Antone back in the house. I'm gonna put on that DJ horn. Yeah, you did that last week, and I added.
Did you? Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Oh man, Antone, you're back, and we got a little bit different look here.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a long 8.5 months.
Has it been that long?
It has been.
Dude.
Wow.
Yeah, see,
I mean,
Kevin
you would
thinks
know.
we've only been doing this
Yeah.
for 6 months.
Yeah. Feels like-
8.5 months since the last podcast.
Or since
This
you've
is where I'm
been
gonna
since
put
you've
that
been out here.
I'm gonna put.
Yeah, probably about 8.5 because I started March 4th. That was the first day.
Oh.
And that was a Monday. So
So we have a podcast out there that still being worked on for 8 months.
It's gonna be polished by the time that thing comes out.
It's gonna get more numbers than Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there we go.
yeah, and the team is growing a little bit
Yeah.
Mhm.
from our little desk here, and got Theo. Theo's back in the house. Kevin's still coming. Brandon's
They haven't gotten
behind the
rid of me
scenes.
yet.
Brandon's not mic'd up, but he's behind the scenes. He's our
Oh, he
he's
doesn't
our
have a
Jamie.
mic? We took away his mic.
You lose privileges when you're tardy.
I've never lost anything.
You're not supposed to take things away from a Make-A-Wish program.
Wow, dude. Oh, take it easy.
Man, how's flight school?
It's going really well. It's really, really, really hard, but I really enjoy it.
That's good.
Well, I can imagine you're flying an airplane. I wouldn't think it would be easy.
No.
That's
yeah,
a big challenge, man.
It is.
So-
we go 7 days a week. We fly every day, sim every
Dang.
day. By sim, I mean hop on the simulator that we have and study all day long.
How long are your days?
I'm usually up at 7 and I don't go to bed till like 11.
Oh wow.
So I'll
Dang.
usually study, like I said, all day long, depending on what's coming up too. You know, there are days that we don't study all day long, but you kind of every day you take off, that's a day you've lost towards your goal, and we don't get those days back. So luckily, I'm surrounded by some pretty awesome people, and we study hard.
That's good.
That is good. That's really good.
So let me ask you something, because I heard probably your parents talking to Pastor Rick about this, and Rick kind of talking about this. Walk us through the part of flying where they blindfolded you.
Oh, so that was the instrument phase of flying. And what we do is we learn to fly based off of our instruments. So that's to simulate you being in a cloud the whole time. So they put on these things called foggles is what we call them. It's just goggles that are fogged up or completely blacked out. And so mine are completely blacked
Call
out.
them foggles.
Yeah. And
Alrighty, we're just getting away from bandanas. Okay.
yeah, exactly. And
Ooh, I can understand that.
we have those on, and so it's like sunglasses that just have a little opening to where you can see nothing but your instruments, and it's to simulate you flying in a cloud. And
Yeah.
yeah, so you have to learn how to. You take off, you put them on when you're 1,000 feet above the ground, then you fly the whole time until you are 200 feet above the ground, and then you take them
Then-
off and you land.
Then a goose.
Sure hope not.
What was your talk with the Lord like that day?
Oh yeah. I mean, the stakes weren't as high. You knew you're not in a plane.
Well, I was in a plane.
Oh, you
we did.
were-
We
was
did all
in
of this
an
in a plane.
He was
Oh, did I
actually
missed that
flying.
part? Damn. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so we did all this in a plane. It's me
Bleep
doing
that
that,
out.
and then we have a safety pilot. And so it's our instructor,
Okay,
and they're
okay.
teaching us how to do everything. They can see perfectly fine. But there were times we flew in actual clouds. And so then me and my instructor both, I'd take them off, we'd fly in the clouds and focus on our instruments. But
Wow.
that, yeah, no, it's not as scary as you think because, I mean, you're just staring at the screens. It's tough. It's learning how to follow your plates, how to make sure you're listening to tower because you're doing a lot because you're reading the plates that are on your iPad, which the plates, those are your directions on how to do the approaches, how to depart from an airport and how to do
Dang.
your route there. Then you're talking to tower, listening to tower, making sure you're at the right altitude while also watching your airspeed, altitude, heading, and your coordination to make sure you're not climbing or descending, all while making sure that you're looking for traffic on the other screen. And then you're going through, you're running your checklist.
There's a lot that goes into that. Then.
It's a lot. And we're, running our after takeoff checklist, our cruise checklist, our approach checklist, our descent checklist. And we're going through everything
Wow.
doing that. And then before we get there, in one of the checklists, you have to brief your plate. So you're doing everything I just said, plus you're reading everything that's on your plate, telling your,
Co-captain.
yeah, they're called the pilot monitoring is the technical term. And the pilot monitoring, which is our instructor, you're telling them what we're doing, briefing everything, saying, okay, this is what we're doing. We can't descend below this, altitude, and just going through everything.
Dang.
Wow.
So, what is the scariest part that you've experienced of the whole process?
Of like the whole program itself.
Yeah. Any was there any moment like, oh dear Lord, like
Yeah, my instructor and I were caught in a microburst. And so a microburst is just a concentrated area of downdraft, severe downdraft.
ooh,
And they can be up to 6,000 feet in downdraft per minute. So
6,000 feet.
6,000 feet
per
per minute. Yep.
I've seen where
crazy.
microbursts have leveled a forest,
Mhm.
like flattened all the trees.
Yep.
What?
We were,
Yeah, they have them around here.
I've seen them disintegrate silos, Quonsets out in fields. It's just this pressure. It's just boom. It's like an explosion. They happen here all the time.
these extreme winds
You
that
have
just
that to look for.
pushing down. Dang. And so we actually flew into one of those. You do everything you can to avoid them because there's different signs you look for to see, okay, that's a microburst. We're going to avoid it. But as we were flying, we just got caught right in it.
Dang.
And it wasn't super severe, but it was still enough to where when we were in a full climb, we then got to the peak of the microburst and we were still losing 2,000 feet per minute. And we're in
Wow.
full climb until we finally got to the other side. Luckily, we had enough altitude that we were okay. But my
Dang.
instructor and I had it pitched up and my power was full. And I said, okay, I don't know
Could
what
you
to do.
feel it?
Oh, yeah, you're just dropping.
Dude, were you clenching, bro?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think I put an imprint on the yoke.
I slip on the ice and I clinch, bro. You were falling out of the sky.
Yeah.
that's crazy, dude.
Yep.
Wow.
Dude, if that was me, I would literally be falling. Crying, dude.
Yeah, it was intense.
Man. Dude. Wow.
Or there was one time I did a landing and it was for one of my evals and I was flying right seat and it was the first time I'd ever flown right seat because what we were doing is preparing to fly across the country with another student. And so you have to learn how to fly because obviously we fly in the left seat the whole time, but in the right seat, that was, just in case an emergency happened. And so my instructor was in the left seat, I was in the right. I came in for a landing down at La Junta and it was a 38 knot crosswind.
Ooh.
And
Wow.
first time landing, it was terrible, horrible landing, but it was pretty sporty going down.
How fast is a knot in miles per hour?
1.15. So 1.15 miles per hour per knot.
Per knot.
Yes.
So it's 1 for 1 pretty much. Or it's 2. 2 for 1. One, you rounding up? I'm
11
not,
and a half.
let's not do math today.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Look it up. What is it? I thought I was hoping he would have caught that cue, but he didn't.
No. Wow. So where's one of the coolest places that you've flown to? So when you fly to these places, do you always come back to Denver every day, or are there times you fly somewhere and stay the night?
It depends on what part of training we're in. So on my private license training and my, actually in all of my training, yes, we would take off and then go back to. I actually had a couple engine failures that stopped us from doing that. I could tell you that story in a
I
little
don't
bit.
think I'm flying
But
with you.
We,
Never mind.
He's in its growing stages. Okay,
I mean,
growing pains.
it's good that I learn it now instead of doing it for the first time
Yeah,
when I'm carrying passengers.
Oh
But,
yeah,
it's like we said, the best teacher is failure.
Yeah,
You gotta,
exactly.
You know?
You don't get to fail too many times in an airplane. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So yeah, I mean, when during the training part, we always came back to the home airport where we departed from. But to build time, our flight school has a built-in section where you and another student, they do what's called crew cross countries. So you and your other fellow student will take off and, like, for instance, they airlined me down to Dallas, and I flew out of Arlington, and then flew from there to Midland, Texas, to Oklahoma City, Hayes, Kansas, and then back up to
Dang,
Denver.
dude.
And
That's pretty cool.
we got stuck in Midland for a night because of the winds, because the company policy, they have a certain criteria of what the winds can be to, take off.
Yeah.
And just for safety. And then
Is that OSHA?
no, it's just the company policy for our own our own school. And so then we got stuck there, and then they have the same thing with ceiling levels. So even though we can fly in the clouds, the base of the clouds have to be at a certain height. And so we got stuck in Oklahoma City then because of the winds and the ceiling levels. And then we went to Hayes, Kansas, and booked it back to Denver
Dang.
after that.
wow.
Dang.
So there's a lot that goes into play.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's quite a bit.
Have you flown to like New York City or anything like that yet?
The furthest east I've flown is Louisiana.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. You were telling me you were in Louisiana.
Yeah.
So you're still in school. How much more of that?
If everything goes perfect, I'm about a month and a half out from being done.
That's awesome.
And then you'll have your private pilot license.
No, I have my commercial license right now.
All right.
I just passed my commercial check ride on the 23rd of November.
So you can
That's
get
awesome.
a job with a commercial airline right now.
No, I have to have a certain hour requirements to fly for the airlines.
But you could fly private.
Yes, I can participate in private carriage if the FAA is listening. I can only fly in private carriage. I cannot participate in
I
common
can promise
carriage.
you the FAA is not listening to this podcast.
You'd be surprised.
Like and subscribe.
Flight Association Agency.
Federal Aviation Administration.
Yeah, that's what he is.
So yeah,
Look it up, right?
I can.
He's eating pizza right now.
What does he even do here?
Yeah,
Yeah, we can.
You sound like an angsty teenager.
I don't know. I got a lot of tinned up rage. Right now.
did you find the knots to miles per hour conversion?
1.15.
Yeah, so
1.15
So,
miles to every one
from-
knot.
1.15 to sorry, it's actually the other way around. So from miles per hour to knots, you multiply by 1.15. So it's 1.15 knots per miles per hour.
Wow. Still don't understand it.
It's yeah, it's a whole thing. 'Cause
Do
then
they
you
go
get-
by knots in like boats too?
Yeah.
Should just play.
Yeah, they do.
I have no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they go nuts.
Okay,
Is that European?
no, it's nautical miles to statute miles.
Nautical.
So what's the goal after, let's say you're done with school in a month and a half?
Well, next it'll be looking for a way to build hours to get to the airlines. My ultimate goal is the airlines, but what I have to figure out is how I'm going to get there. I will have, after I'm done, I'll have my flight instructor rating and my multi-engine rating. I'm looking at becoming a flight instructor, or potentially, if I can find a job as a private jet or, corporate flying, then I'll try to do that.
Nice.
But we'll see.
And is Ryan still helping you?
Yeah, I've been in contact with him. He's been fantastic. He's helped me out, just kind of, keeping him up to date. He's presented some opportunities to me, and we'll see what pans out.
Okay. So you're staying in Denver, grandma and grandpa still.
Mm-hmm.
How's that?
It's great. Sleeping on the couch.
On
Really?
the couch.
Yeah.
8 months.
No, sleeping on the couch 8.5 months.
But you want to know? Okay, here's a little fun fact about Adam. I had my own house and slept on the couch.
Yeah.
I had my own bedroom, lived by myself,
Hmm.
but I had like the most comfortable couch.
Mm.
It was like one of them fake leather couches
Yeah.
and really cushiony.
Broke in.
And so it started with, watching movies, watching TV, just falling asleep on the couch with a blanket that was my bed. So
Yeah.
sleeping on the couch really isn't that bad, I don't think.
No, that's not bad at all.
But
Me and Brennan used to sleep on the couch as kids for like 5 years growing up. Not-
Just for fun, or
Just I don't know why. Why did we do it? Yeah. Yeah.
that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, dude. Used to always sleep on the couch because the living room was closer to my parents' bedroom.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So how are you? You're living with grandma and grandpa. That's going real good. Taking care of things around the house for them when you can.
Mhm.
How is your walk with the Lord since you've kind of taken I don't want to say backseat because that's not the right word, a step away from regular church attendance to
Oh
now-
yeah, the dynamic you had there, right, was a little bit
right.
different.
You and the family were coming to church, all those kind of things, and now you're kind of on your own in Denver with grandma and grandpa.
Mhm.
What does that look like in all of this? Where does Christ and keeping yourself in the faith, in your studies and stuff like that, because you're obviously overloaded with studying for your career, where does that fall in?
Mhm. That's a good question. I'm not attending church as regularly as I'd like to.
Okay, well, that's all we have time.
No, it's I do have a church that I go to. I've gotten a few of my buddies.
You found
that go
one
with me.
up there?
Uh-huh.
Nice.
That's good.
And
And some of your buddies from
flight school. Yeah.
Nice.
Gotten some of them to go, and then there's actually a new lady who started, and we were talking with her, and she wants to go with us too. So got a good little group going. It's just time.
Right,
That's
yeah.
the hard
Yeah.
thing.
Well, no.
And
Yeah, you're
it's-
7 days a week. I mean,
Yeah. Yep. So finding that time is tough. We no, as far as my walk with it, what that looks like, it's more of a, what's the right word? Not a sanctuary, but it allows me like to step back from the busyness.
it's
of
your
flight school.
escape.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my escape.
Okay.
Yeah.
And allows me to take a step back, recenter myself, remember why I'm doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
And who's allowing you to do it?
Yeah.
So that was going to be my next question. You pretty much answered is, are you making time
Hmm.
in your busy schedule to set aside 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, to get in the word or even call a friend and just not talk about flight school and all that stuff, but what the Lord is doing for you
Hmm.
or just the gospel in general?
Yeah. Yeah, I have. There's a lady who was on my state officer team down in Texas.
Yeah.
And she's a lot like me, very active, very on the go all the time. We talk all the time about, if it's not once a week, it's twice a week, talking
Nice.
about our faith and what's going on and, just kind of remembering our why and what our purpose is
Mhm.
and how God is working in our life and how he's allowing us to do this and how he is, the forefront and how we have to keep him at that forefront.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. Well, it's been encouraging this year with the amount of young guys that are stepping up in this church. Men's Bible study is doubled in this year, and I'm no longer the youngest guy in that group.
Mhm.
We got a whole handful, and then Theo. I'm sure you've known Theo from church here for a long time. Well, he came up, gave his testimony here at church, rededicated his life to Christ, and now is going to get baptized
Hmm.
here at church, and then he's been big role here, and so it's fun watching his young Christian walk because it reminds me of where I was at when I was there.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm still not that far ahead, but how passionate and fired up he gets has been really encouraging. And then seeing you guys come in has still been huge. I mean, it because of you young guys keeps Kevin and I motivated to keep doing, because when we started this ministry, that's what it was based on,
Mm-hmm.
was young guys understanding the gospel.
Mhm.
And now we got young guys that want to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, man, all by the glory of God, it's been expanding.
Yeah.
But we're constantly asking about you all the time, what you're up to, what you're doing, and
Spamming you with gifts.
gifts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. No, it's fantastic. I mean, it's really interesting because before this, I tried to really work or allow God to work through me through state office, and now trying to do it through flight school. Like, as weird as it sounds, it's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah.
And I allowing him to take control, because I have check rides for every certification I have, and
What's
saying that prayer. Do what?
What's a check ride?
So that is when all the training we do, that's the final test. That's the test that the FAA administers. And they say, okay, well, they have somebody who the FAA selected, and you have to sit down and do a verbal portion of the check
Okay.
ride. So they quiz you based on this whole book for that pilot cert.
Dang.
And they quiz you on it. They can go as easy or as hard as they want. They have certain criteria that you have to meet. Then that can usually be an hour and a half, 2 hours of just asking you questions.
Dang.
Then after that, you have about an hour and a half, 2 hours of the flight. So where you're up in the air, you have to perform different maneuvers. You have to display
Barrel
and show
rolls?
that. Not yet. No, but you have to display that you are a safe, adequate pilot who can handle the plane well and who makes
Wow.
good pilot and command decisions.
Dang, dude.
And so there's before you do that, it's a lot, and the workload only gets heavier and larger as you continue on to the pilot certs, and just allowing myself to pray. And it's like Adam was actually talking about downstairs, and praying, asking for help, and then saying, but no matter what, let your will be done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been super helpful just in the stress portion of my flight training, the anxiety portion of my flight training. I mean, for the first time, I have had some serious stress and anxiety. I never did. I've never had a
Dang.
problem with
Right.
stress.
I would imagine.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with that. I've done a lot in my life. My parents have blessed me with very challenging but rewarding tasks as far as shooting sports,
Yeah.
state office, whatever it is. But this flight school is probably the toughest thing I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's taught me a lot and allowed me to really grow in my faith, just putting my trust in God, putting my trust in Christ, knowing that he's taken care of me this far, so why would he stop now?
Right.
And a lot saying, you know what, Lord, I really need your help here, here, and here.
Mhm.
But if I don't pass,
it's your will.
it's your will.
Yeah.
There's a reason for it.
That's
And
such
so
a humble
taking a step
position
back.
to be from. Like, that's where Christ was. You know,
Mhm.
he didn't want that, but
Yep.
you're able to ask for it. You
Mhm.
still should verbalize it and say, hey, if you can help me with this, please do. If not, I'm going to praise you through it.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. I mean, that's been my attitude towards it, is that I know I've done absolutely everything I can up until that point
Mhm.
to prepare and be the best prepared for that check ride as I can.
Yeah.
And now it's in God's hands.
Yeah.
And so if wind blows me out of the tolerances or whatever, so like for instance with the commercial check ride, so you do these things called steep turns, and you're actually at a 50-degree bank, and you're doing a 360, and you have to be within 5 degrees when you roll out. You have to be within 5 degrees of your heading that you initially started at, and within 50 feet of altitude. And when you're in a plane, that 50 feet of altitude, you can lose it fast.
It's
100
yeah.
feet, you get some nasty wind, you're below it.
Dang.
Yeah.
And as soon as you do it, you bust the check ride. It's just, it's done right there. And they'll say, do you want to continue? Yes, you can. And whatever you fail
What if
on,
you
whatever
said
you bust
no?
on, you don't have to. You can. You would have to.
You just let go of them.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah, really. So,
Do you want to continue? Nope.
these check rides, they're not cheap either. They're really expensive. And so
Really?
if you fail, you have to pay sometimes the full price, sometimes half of it, depending on what
Wow.
went wrong and who the DP is.
Man, I tell you, it sounds like it's really a year of letting the Lord dictate where we're going in life, is what it seems like. Your story, how's everybody else's life going? compared to Antone's story.
I mean, that's not to finish that.
No. But I'm serious. So it just seems to be that that's where the Lord's leading us this year, going into 2025. Is he's testing and challenging us to not only submit to Him, but let Him dictate every single part of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's clear with Theo, just getting into the gospel, getting into his Bible. And then when he walked into this church, it just reminds me of myself so much. Once he walked in, got his toes wet, now he wants to jump off the deep end. He wants to get into those men's Bible studies, and he makes sure he's here for all of it. He came to decorate the church yesterday. It's so much like my walk. I mean, all of our walks different. We all go through different things, but it's so encouraging to see how on fire he is about it. And then have you coming right back into this position this week before you head back to school, still on fire for the Lord. You know, Kevin submitting, I don't even know. Never mind. No, Kevin, I know through all of his stuff, you know, taking on bigger roles at his job, struggling through, you know, changing hats and things like that, and struggling with his job and getting frustrated to the point to where he's just finally like, whatever, it's wherever the Lord's going to take me. The changes in, you know, him being a single dad, and how I've noticed somewhat of a weight lifted off of his shoulders from the struggles he was going through, being and submitting to that. And then me just totally submitting and going into full-time ministry as my job. It's kind of like putting on those goggles you were talking about. Because I have it's all God.
Mm-hmm.
It's all God for all of us. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I submitted my family, my finances, everything to the ministry. Just like, you know, I just chose to do it a lot later in life. You're probably taking the better route here.
It's never too late with Christ.
No.
That's the beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
We all have a ministry, and it seems to be that we're all working towards that ministry. You got a group of guys that you're attending a church out there with.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool too. Like, I don't know what it is. It's Christ, obviously. I know what it is, but when you are walking as best you can in the path of Christ, those people find each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're going to Denver, you didn't know those people that you meet these people at the school you're attending,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys are able to connect and be like, hey, let's go to church. Like, most people aren't going to do that. Like, hey, you want to go get a beer?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the day and age. But
And maybe that's something that, how did that conversation start? Like, I mean, you could have been at school being like, I love Jesus.
Yeah.
But I mean, probably not how that started, but
Right.
like, so how does that conversation start?
there's just natural. It just flows.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, I get that. But like, for a young guy like Theo, that's now in his walk here, and now he's taking that ministry to the construction site. And we talked about this with Theo, that it's not easy because you easily slip into that construction working role.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're just like the other construction guys, use colorful language, different things like that, but not knowing, like, if, say, he goes to a different job site,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't know those guys from a hole in the ground. So,
Did they gravitate towards you, or did you gravitate towards them?
yeah, there you go. Thank
Yeah.
you, Theo.
It's almost like a mix of both, because what my experiences have been is that if you want to really be able to invite people and really establish that, you have to establish a relationship first. And you have to, I mean, because you don't want to just go up and be like, oh, hey, my name's Antone, let's go to church. Because they're like, whoa, this guy, what? Yeah, hold on, buddy. I mean, I actually had a friend. He's a really good friend of mine, and he'd always say, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to be a part of your cult. No, I don't want to, I don't want to do that.
Taking slights at you too.
Yeah. And, then I just bought him his Bible right after the election happened.
Oh yeah.
I bought him a Bible, put his name on it, because he said, if the election goes the way I want it to, then I will.
And he'll dabble.
Then I'll believe there's a God. And Trump got elected. Then I went right that night. I bought him his Bible and I handed it to him. He's reading Matthew right now.
Wow.
And
Dang.
so
Trump gets impeached, he's going to throw it at your face.
probably. But the thing is that you have to have that relationship 1st.
Uh-huh.
You know, I mean, and it all starts with conversations where people go, "Oh, okay, what are you?" Be like, "Yeah, I'm actually going to church on Sunday. I mean, if you guys want to come, I'd love to have you."
Mhm.
And actually, I've had quite a few people kind of, you know, almost. So there's some more people that
Yeah.
are pretty close, but it's. And I mean, I don't go in with the intention of being like, okay,
Right.
I'm going to build this relationship. So that way, no, these are my friends.
So that way I can convert them.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I become friends with these people and then build that relationship and then show them what I believe, why, and I'd love for you to come too.
Well, and a lot of it is
Yeah.
how you present yourself, and Christ shines through you. Like I was telling those kids this tonight, like Christ shines through you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just are glowing with the Holy Spirit. You know what I mean? And people pick up on that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the conversation I had tonight, and that's the reason why I got a phone call today.
Mhm.
I talked to this guy twice in 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
But he follows me on social media. I don't allow junk in my social media. It's a giant Bible study for the most part. And my videos that I put out, I haven't been a stranger at marketing my FCA online,
Mm-hmm.
putting videos
Yeah,
out.
we know.
And, so, but because of that, people gravitate naturally to you and want to pick a little bit. Even with a lot of resistance and hesitance, like tonight, there's a lot of hesitant. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get that. I'm not going to preach to you right now,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm going to give you these little pieces of seed.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to, because I know what the Holy Spirit's going to do, because just by talking to this gentleman, God's already got his attention.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his attention.
That's the thing about it. You take those opportunities to show Christ
Mm-hmm.
and plant those seeds. Then God is able to help
Right.
establish that, and it just they start thinking.
Yeah.
And then you have those thoughts about it, and then you're thinking, and you find yourself closer to that point where you can talk to Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, where you're thinking and you're like, well, are you real, Lord? Like, I mean, I've never experienced that. I mean, I guess I have, but not to that level of being like a totally non-believer,
Right.
grown up and have been taught what I know and know what I've been taught. Right.
Well, you know, and a lot of these older gentlemen at church and guys I disciple with and things like that, they're huge on gospel tracts,
Yeah.
passing out gospel tracts. And I thought of this the other day. That's still great. And I encourage guys to get a handful of gospel tracts. You used to do it at work all the time.
Yeah.
I got a handful of gospel tracts, and part of the challenge that I'm doing in that men's Bible, that book that I'm doing with Keaton and all those guys, is passing 10 gospel tracts out a week to complete strangers
Usually
that you don't know. And so I ordered some gospel tracts. They're pretty juvenile, pretty elementary, cut and basic gospel. But on the back, the guy I disciple with's like, no, he didn't do that. But he said, well, this is good, but where do you put your phone number?
For them
Your
to
name
call
and your
you.
number, so that
Yeah.
if they have questions, they can call you. And I'm like, well, I'm a failure in life. I'm order some new ones. But then I got to thinking, we have the biggest gospel track at our fingertips. You hear a lot of these older pastors and younger pastors, even older generations, talk about the evils of social media. And there is. Don't get me wrong. Social media can be used for a lot of bad things. The internet
Mhm.
can be used for a lot of bad things. But you can also turn that into your gospel track
Mhm.
by just posting things that have the gospel. Putting videos out on TikTok, Snapchat, things like that, like I've been doing lately. I haven't been doing a lot of editing into it. I just went back to the basics and started turning the camera on and quoting scripture for 15 seconds. And then putting my little 2-second snippet in there.
Yeah.
And I have been getting more traction just by doing that. But that's my gospel track. And guys like to call me tonight, see that. And then they call me.
Mm-hmm.
Or they send a message or a comment. And for the first time, I was getting comments that weren't like, you're dry as toast or whatever, you know, all that I'm like, this is dumb. It was
It's
one
cool.
guy said, man, somebody please pray for this young man. It looks cold where he's at. And I'm like, what? Well, there's snow on the ground. I was walking around. So please, somebody pray for warm weather for this young guy. He looks like he's freezing to death. But that's our gospel track, really. And so, you've got that opportunity at your job. You got that opportunity at your job. You just keep doing it. And eventually people will start coming to you. Now, that's not saying don't go out there and evangelize, spread the gospel.
Right.
Talk to people. If the Holy Spirit tugs on you, like does that, hey, maybe say something to this person in line or at the grocery store, you better listen.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do believe in the Lord giving you little spankings here and there.
Oh, yeah.
You might have ignored him and then go get in your car and smack your head on the door jamb. You're like, oh, dang it. Little things like that, little God winks, like, hey. But no, that's really cool, man. And I tell you what, you're definitely an influence for everybody in this room, because when your name gets brought up, it's with respect and like, man, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, we're super proud of you.
Thank you.
Here. And if you don't get us a private jet one day, we're going to be so disappointed. We want a street smart Christian jet.
Okay. I'll get on that.
We get right on that one.
Yeah. They're like, they got a jet. They got 8 followers. But anyways, before we get too much in the weeds, you had mentioned something that happened to you today.
Oh yeah. See, we're talking
wanted to
about
talk
like
on this.
positive stuff happening.
But that's all right. This is
Mine's like kind of negative, dude, because
but your negatives usually turn into a positive somehow.
Yeah, this is weird, man. It really set the tone for the day, kind of in a bad light, but it worked out. So, there's a park next to my son's school.
Yeah.
And we usually park there, walk over to his school, and then I walk back to my car, go to work, right? So we did that this morning, cold, freezing out there.
Yeah.
And I get him to school, and I'm heading back, and as I'm coming up the hill to get to the parking lot in the park, I see a person with like all black on, hoodie, black backpack, black pants, and a red shirt, kind of just like moseying, coming off of a hill. Nah, you don't have a car. Obviously, you're just walking through the parking lot. And as I'm walking to my car, the person's kind of walking towards me and says something and like gestures at me. And I like didn't think that they were talking to me. So then I just got to my car door, and then he got close enough for me to hear him. And it was a young black gentleman, and he's cursing at me and saying, "You MFer, what's up?" or something like that. And I was like, kind of like looked over me. I'm like, "Are you all right, dude?" And he's like, "So this and that," like just cursing at me. I'm like, "Do you need help?" I'm like, "Are you okay? Do you need help?" And he was like, I think it took him off of balance because I could feel my blood start to boil a little bit. And I'm like, who are you talking to, boy? Like that's what I wanted to do or something. But I didn't. I was just like,
you had your son with you too,
need
right?
Help? No, I dropped.
Oh, you dropped him off school.
But he's walking towards the school.
Uh-huh.
And so like I'm starting to get kind of like, okay, what? And he kind of getting closer to me. But then when I was like, do you need help? Are you okay? He kind of like was like, just have some respect and answer my question. Like stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. I was like, are you sure you're okay? As he kept walking. And then
Did you ask what the question was?
Well, that's what it was. Like he was saying, "What's up, MFer?"
Oh.
That was the question.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he was aggressive. And so I was like, what? Like, what just happened? So I sit in my car and I'm like, I better call non-emergency. So I called non-emergency to just report, because this guy's walking towards the school.
Mhm.
There's nothing else over there but neighborhood and school and another school farther down. So I was like, hey, there's this younger guy out there. He's being aggressive. Don't know why he came up, like was coming at me like that. And so they took all my information down. And then the cop called me when I got to work. And he was like, hey, you just walk me through what happened. And I explained it to him, that whole scenario. Excuse me. And then he's like, so are you wanting to like press charges against him? I'm like, no, not at all. I just want to make sure he's okay and he's not going to go get into trouble at that school or do anything where my son goes to school or where other kids are.
Yeah.
Because that was my first thought. And there are other people there walking their kids to school. And, You know, he just randomly came up to me and was
Mhm.
all hostile towards me. And I'm like, you know, I was worried. I'm like, no, I mean, it's cold out and he might be homeless. I don't know. His clothes were tattered, you know, but um, yeah, and it threw me off, dude. I'm like, what is going on? You know, but I had thoughts of wanting to react in a negative way and be like, what? Like what? Like, what are you talking about? I don't know who you are, or cursing back. And thankfully it didn't. That was the old me, how I would have reacted. I didn't have any, I was shocked enough to where I didn't react that way,
Right.
you know, and I was just like, do you need help? Like you're genuinely asking that. And I think it kind of threw him off because then he stopped yelling and he was like, can you just be respectful and answer my question? I'm like, dude, what was your question?
Yeah, I
You know,
would
like, it
love
was
to,
just-
but usually people don't
it
greet
was
me with
weird,
MF.
bro. He was probably on drugs and
Oh, yeah, it
like,
sounds like
it
it.
was early. I mean, well, it wasn't too early. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, cold.
Coming off, maybe.
It was just weird, man. And I was just like, what just happened, dude?
Yeah.
It was so strange.
Hmm.
So yeah, that happened to me.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, and this is the worst part. So I'm a decently good part of town, and my son's in a decently good school. It's only, you know, K through I think middle school. Doesn't have high school, so it's a nice school. It's a
Mhm.
charter, right? And a public charter. But there's a super nice park. It has a baseball field. It has a little jungle gym, and then it has a big, like, almost soccer football field that, like, maybe two of them next to it, right? So, like, there was another time. This was closer to the end of summer, um, beginning of fall. I see two people sleeping on the benches to the baseball field, sleeping out there. I'm like, dang, man. And as I'm walking my son to school, and I'm just like, it's just weird that now, like, this I'm seeing more
Mm-hmm.
of this stuff around people that are just like living outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, that just, it blows my mind. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, but it humbles you at the same time because,
does.
like, I don't deserve anything that I have and how fast that can be taken away.
Yeah.
But by the grace of God,
Mm.
we have what we have.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And we take it for granted every day. The luxuries of sitting in your heated house and
Right.
turning on your TV and watching everything you want on
I mean,
demand.
sleeping in a bed.
Mindlessly scrolling.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, going to flight school,
Mm-hmm.
getting to sleep on your grandparents' couch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's insane, but no.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
just, it's sad. And normally, yeah, I'm very protective, and I have, my mindset is a certain type of way. I'm security minded. So I always have to sit with my back to the entrance of a building, things like that, you know, but I've had more feelings of, you know, compassion for those people, you know, instead of being like, oh, like, not,
Well, you see him as Satan's got a grip.
yeah, it's
on it.
yeah, and it's not like, it's not pity. I don't say pity.
No.
It's just, it's, your heart hurts for them because, yeah, exactly. I could have been them.
Yeah.
You
We
know,
all could have
and
been.
God has blessed me enough, like, don't know
all by
how
his
or
grace.
why,
Yeah.
like, that he just kept giving me opportunities and chances to be in the position that I am, and to have that opportunity to reflect him when I can. And I fail at that all the time
Right.
because I can be a hothead and I'm not tactful. So
Mm-hmm.
when I'm at work and I try to share the gospel, I do fairly well. I can be fairly eloquent with it. But then when someone messes up with the job,
Yeah.
I'm a jerk.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're just like, you just talked to me all day yesterday about Jesus, and you're sitting here making me feel like I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, listen, I'm sorry. Wasn't trying to make you feel dumb, but you dumb.
Well, yeah. No, I
Like-
know. I get it. I
like-
get it.
Like, it's just one of those things, man. It's tough. It's difficult to do. And
I get it. 100%. What about you, Theo?
You got any crazy story, bro?
I don't have any crazy stories as of yet.
Nothing happened
No.
to you?
No, not yet.
Everything's going good.
Everything's going pretty good, yeah.
You got your buddy there that's been coming now. You got him to come decorate the church yesterday.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Has he always been a believer, or is it kind of new for him too?
I think it's kind of new for him. He used to
kinda
come
see
here.
that. But he's really looking up to you, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did that start?
So I don't know how it started. It may have been one of his other buddies who comes to Bible study, but he just showed up to Bible study one night.
Yeah. Wasn't it Keaton's friend that he came with, or did he come with one of them?
No, he came with, I can't ever remember his name. It's not Keaton, but it's the other.
Caden?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. Okay.
He came with Caden, and then Caden was actually supposed to be here to decorate the church
Okay.
yesterday, but he had to help one of his other buddies.
Okay.
And yeah, he came to church last week.
Yeah, I seen him go over there, kind of sit with those guys and
Yeah.
with you. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, and we've after we decorated the church, we sat in the parking lot and just talked for about an
That
hour.
parking lot's the best for
How it happens, man.
that one's the best.
That's how
for
it happens. No, that's really cool. No, that's really cool.
Yeah, he's just been trying to find his ways.
Yeah. That's when you start sending those texts, man,
Mm-hmm.
and just keep encouraging him.
And he's actually doing that book, but he doesn't have the book. He has the app.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, that.
I can't remember what the name of it is. That book that you're doing.
Yeah, I have the app too. Yeah, it's
And he actually got me to download the app, but I want to get the book eventually.
Oh yeah, I offered it to you like a month ago, and you didn't seem like you really cared. It's called SoulCon.
Yeah, that's it.
It's a 6-week special forces training.
Hmm.
It's not really a Bible study per se, but it's
It's like a Bible
a
challenge.
reprogram. Yeah, it's reprogramming your brain kind of thing.
And when I was
And it's for men only. And it's funny, it's got the stamp on the cover. It says for men only. And then you start reading like the introduction things. And you get halfway almost to chapter 1, and it says, if you're a female and you're reading this right now, close the book and give it to your boyfriend or your husband.
Really?
Like, stop reading it. And it was Keaton's girlfriend or whatever was like, it got mailed to her house because he lives with his mom. And she's like, oh, what's this for? And she's like, can I read? And so she started reading. She got about halfway through it. And like, yeah, this is nothing. I have no idea what this means
Wow.
because it gets in depth with what goes through a man's brain.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it talks about pornography, talks about the struggles with it. It talks about lustful thoughts. It talks about struggling with the flesh and how to, we're always going to struggle with the flesh, but how to reprogram your brain to where that's not just there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're always going to fight with it, but how to train your mind in a special forces type of way with exercise and diet and routine.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the routines is waking up and saying the Lord's Prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, it gets into depth, like get on your knees and say it out loud in the morning when you wake up.
Wow.
Get on your knees, say the Lord's Prayer. And, you know,
Make your bed.
it's open to new believers, seasoned believers, but just to get you in that routine of getting on your knees and making it a point to pray,
Mm-hmm.
a purpose to start your day out with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that forced me to memorize the Lord's Prayer. And so I wake up and I got like 8 different versions of the Bible. I don't recommend this to anybody. Find a good Bible, good version, stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got the ESV, the NIV, the NASB, and they all say it different.
Mm-hmm.
So my Lord's Prayer probably has a little bit of spice from every one of the Bibles.
Yeah.
But I've made it now, like I said, the first thing you grab in the morning is your cell phone because your alarm's
Yep,
going off.
that's my problem.
So my alarm, when I grab it and the screen illuminates, it's the Lord's Prayer. Instantly in my head at that point, the Lord's Prayer. And like I said, most of the time it's the dog that wakes me up. So I grab my phone to use it as a light so I don't turn all the lights in the bedroom. And I might be gritting my teeth saying the Lord's Prayer because I want to kick the dog through the wall. Like so, but I'd still making it, our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us as our trespassers as we forgive those who trespass on us.
Lead us not into temptation.
Lead us not into temptation, but
but
deliver us from evil. For the kingdom and the power and the glory is yours. So that's
Forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. Yeah. And so you do that every day. And then that leads you into your conversation with God. And then you're like, oh yeah, what, I would like this to happen, but if it doesn't,
let your will be
I'm
done.
going to be okay with it. I might get irritated and cry like a little baby, but I'm not going to blame you for that. It's obviously for a reason this isn't happening. I'm going to keep asking for a new truck, but I won't get mad at you because I don't have it.
You messing with my truck?
Yeah. So, but that's part of that SoulCon challenge. And the app is good too. It's an open platform to message. Guys always on there putting stuff on like, hey, pray for me. I'm struggling with this. I'm like, I don't even know. No, I'm just kidding. The app is good. It's got good recipes on the app. It's got good workout routines and stuff like that. It's a cool men's challenge.
Because me, Keaton, and Sean, we were standing outside the front doors, and Keaton said that it's changed his mindset and his outlook on life drastically.
It just gives you a whole different purpose if you take it serious. I started day one and then got sick.
I gave up.
The Lord doesn't want me to do this. No, I'm not giving up. I'm starting. The guy is obviously a jacked dude. I told my wife that was going to be me after 6 weeks. She's like, I'm going to keep you, accountable. Like, you're going to eat these things? I'm good. That's all I'm going to give you then.
Dang.
It's good.
It's like, I'm not doing it, she said, but.
Must be nice.
Hey, dude, you're sitting next to two single dudes here. Unless you're still single?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Theo?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't even need to ask you.
So,
did you see that podcast?
What?
When I kept putting it and saying ladies, I put these hands over you that were like this.
Hard
and said ladies, this, and you're like, yeah. That's how, yeah. Oh. I thought this was a Christian podcast.
It is.
Yeah. It's brotherly
that's
love.
cool though.
That's a good point because one of the verses that stuck out to me this week is
he's not taking the hint.
Ecclesiastes 4.
What's that? What's Ecclesiastes 4, Brandon?
9 through 12.
He's gonna look it up and put it on the screen. Put it on the screen here for our people at home.
So there's this book that I'm reading, and it's I forget the title, dude, but it's about raising better sons, stronger sons with Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty great. It's a really good book, and it really it has a lot of moments where it hits you. And you're like, man, that's me. Like I do that, and it hurt. That it affected me growing up, and then I'm affecting my son with those type of behaviors that we do, and it's based off the idea of what the world says is masculinity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of basing it off of what Christ says it is. And there's a few verses. Proverbs has quite a few about this, but Ecclesiastes 4, 9 through 12 is 2 are better than 1 because they are good. They have a good return on their labor. And if either of them falls down, one can help the other up, but pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken.
That's in my bedroom.
That's so good, dude.
So when
I don't know about the
you weren't at my
11 part.
wedding. I mean, when at my wedding that you weren't at.
You didn't invite me to?
Yeah, I did. And Dad was like, "We're not going to be able to make it."
Yeah, see, there you go. You invited my dad.
I invited your whole family.
Was he there?
I was there.
No,
You were there?
I was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
You were there?
Yeah, my friends were there.
I was one of the best mans.
Yeah, he was in the best man thing.
Bestest Minch. You guys ever watch The Office?
No, but I put the Mestis family.
Yeah, you sent it to my parents. I don't live at my parents'
And
house.
you were
dude.
where your parents were when my wedding was happening.
No, I lived in Briargate.
Yeah, but you guys went on like a family vacation on the boat or something that weekend. Because it was in June.
Oh, they didn't go either?
No, your parents didn't go. That's what I'm saying. I gave your dad all the invitations. He's like, oh man, sorry, man. The family's not gonna go. Gotta go to camping or something. And I was like, that's cool. These guys went, but that was part of the thing, the cord of 3 strands.
Nice, dude.
So during the wedding ceremony, me and my wife braided. That's what it's talking about.
Mhm.
Braided
You made a
strands.
butter braid?
I guess. Whatever, dude. Learn that in home economics. We
Basket weaving.
we did that as part of the wedding, and then that rope that we braided is on a plaque and on our wall, and it says that Ecclesiastes.
Yeah.
But that, I guess, and that's like a thing they do at a lot of weddings. But
Is it? Well,
That's
I
what it's
think the
talking
cool
about.
thing about that is the
it's
fact
you,
that,
your wife, and God,
yeah.
Hmm.
Or any
or in your
Group.
case, you and God and your friend. I'm telling you right now, you're gonna freeze to death because I'm not laying with you to keep you warm.
See, that's the one part I'm like, I'm trying to lay
because
them
it's
on.
it's
I
talking
mean, if you're
about
gonna die,
it's talking about that, but it's also talking about the a marriage. 2 are better than 1.
yeah.
But yeah, that's
I mean, the important thing of what it was talking about in that chapter I was reading is that, you have to be a good example of what a godly, manly relationship is
yeah,
to your kids, to your son, even I would say to your daughter too, but to show like, hey, accountability
Mhm.
is huge.
Mhm.
And it's just like any other relationship, just like your relationship with God, it's 2-way. You can't
Yeah.
just be one-sided and expect God to do all the heavy lifting, right? Like you have to I'm missing the word for it. Be the example of that.
yeah,
And because if you don't show that to your kids, then they won't be able to go out and get that
right,
and foster relationships like that. And then when they fall down, because you're not always going to be there.
right,
As a dad, you're supposed to be there to lift them up when they fall, right? And say, keep on going.
right,
But when you're not there and you didn't give the example of what those relationships are, then they're going to find it in other avenues that are not the right choice.
Yeah.
Drugs, alcohol, women, all that stuff. Right?
So you remember for the past few podcasts, and maybe not all of them, but I talked about how I would start getting discouraged in the support raising part of it, and then something would come through,
Mhm.
and I'd be like, oh, okay, all right, because I'd get discouraged and down, and maybe this is the path the Lord wants me to be on. Maybe I should just go get my other job back, or go do construction, or just work a 9 to 5. This isn't, and then I'd get an email, boom, this person send in, donation or whatever. And I'm like, okay. Well, I sent out in the past 3 weeks, I've sent out a group like 25 to 30 letters. The first group of letters went to churches and businesses in Calhoun, Lyman, Peyton, stuff like that. I get an email back, nope, sorry, not interested. Okay, whatever, that's fine. From somewhere here in Calhoun. Then just nothing. So then I'm like, okay, maybe it's the holidays, whatever. So then I get back and I print out a bunch of my letters, my pictures and stuff like that, and fold it up. I sent to every church in Strasburg, Byers, Lamar, Elbert, Kiowa, and Ellicott, to every single church. And it's only been, they still got a little bit of time if you're listening, but it's crickets, dude. It's a church. And they told me this in the FCA training, 6% of your donations will come from churches. to your Christian ministry, 6% of churches. And then a lot of times it has to do with because churches are already supporting a handful of ministries. And churches, a lot of churches don't have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So they're taking care of their house. And so, I was sitting there going, I haven't sent a letter since I was 15. And I'm sprinting to the mailbox every time the mailman comes. Because I'm just thinking maybe somebody, even a letter that says, no, you're dumb. Stop asking me something.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. And I'm like, man, I'm never going to get to my fully funded part. Like, I'm doing math on all the money that I have raised. And I'm like, I wish I had that right now. But I'm like, my little percentage marker is not moving.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, whatever. So then I come to church last night. We decorate the church, having a good time doing that. I get home and I get a message from somebody I did not send a letter to, but saw my video on Facebook, which I did like 37 takes of that to where I was like on the cusp of cussing. And I was yelling at myself in my office, like, you're a stupid idiot. You're dumb. And then I'd play, hey, what's up? I'm at. I was getting so mad. And I finally got it. Edit it, send it out. And then this guy that I delivered beer to 10 years in Burlington is the CEO, and he runs the golf course in Burlington. He's an Indian dude. Gets a message, hey, Adam, you should give me a call. And I'm like, I don't have your phone number, bro. I stopped delivering beer to you like 8 years ago. And I'm like, okay. And this is a guy that never posts on Facebook. I just thought maybe his picture was still, like, he wasn't even on Facebook. But clearly he's a guy that doesn't post and just sits at home. He's an older gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I just message him back. I'm like, hey, man, long time no talk, whatever. It's good to hear from you. I hope your family is doing well. I hope everything's going good for you. Man, thanks for reaching out, whatever. And he's like, yeah, hey, give me a call sometime. I don't have your number. He's like, hey, I just want to let you know, man, I donated to your thing. I'm all on board. I'm on board with you. So I just spent all day looking at my email like, no, it takes a couple days. But I'm just kidding, James. I'm just kidding. But it's in that discouragement that I'm just like, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing, God? Am I supposed to be discipling people? Am I supposed to be doing ministry work? That James sends that. Okay. Like, hey,
That's kind of like a clear
my
answer.
cousin that I haven't spoke to in years, he lives up by Fort. He's a firefighter. He's a firefighting chief now. He's my little brother's age. Email, bing, he sent money because he's been watching my stuff. So 1, 2, and I'm just like, okay. Every time I get to where I think this is not going to work, God provides. Like, stop thinking I'm not going to provide for you, boy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Just trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Trust the process.
Yeah.
And then I get a phone call from a guy that I never in a million years would have thought would call me to tell me that he thinks that God's getting a hold of him and wants to talk to God, but isn't sure how that works. He's always believed in God, but he's seen Christ come through my social media, the Holy Spirit just glowing with the Gospels that I put out, and I put out my videos, and I put out that, and they see my life piece by piece by piece changing from where I was when we used to kick it to now.
Mm-hmm.
Married, got a baby, got another one on the way. It's another little girl. Did I already tell you that? I meant to tell you last week because I knew last week.
Dude.
I knew Saturday. I knew last Monday.
You guys are waiting to find out.
We found out on last Monday. It's another little girl we're having in April.
Dang, dude, all girls.
Yeah.
Bro.
The Lord makes tough men out of girl dads, man. I tell you what. But that tonight was another thing of God saying, yes, this is what I want you to do. And how many times do I have to smack you in the face to tell you just trust process? You got a house, you got a vehicle,
Mhm.
you got $6.
You got $6.
You're good. You're good. And we look at what the Lord has provided.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All of this. Everything that I have. But I still get like, oh man.
Yeah.
But that guy, we need to be praying for him. Because he's struggling right now. And he's finally turning in the direction that we all should have been turning a long time ago. But just, it's all in God's time. He has a plan for everything. So, after this podcast, I'll let you know who it is and just keep him in our prayers.
Yeah.
That the Lord gets a hold of him and shows him the light.
Yeah. I mean, that's great that he reached out and had the courage to do that. Because a lot of
Exactly.
men
And
don't. have
no,
it.
they don't. But that's just what I mean. And it's been almost 8 years
Mhm.
of me going through this process, this struggle of trying to do better and trying to be a good example of what a Christian man should look like, a Christian father should look like, a Christian guy in the marketplace looks like. And it's been a struggle because I have failed 1,000 times. And, there's a lot of weight to what you said. There's learning in the failures.
Mhm.
There's you can only go one way after failing, and without failure we wouldn't be where we're at. But it's been painful, it's been rough. I've had great brothers and sisters in Christ to keep me on track, and now I have an even bigger target on my back, which is a blessing and a curse, because the blessing is I've got so many eyes on me that it keeps me focused to stay on track, and the curse is Satan is just attacking me
Nipping at the
daily.
heels.
Mm-hmm.
Harder than what I thought it was when I was being a knucklehead. Now he's like, now I'm getting at you when you're sleeping. How you like that, huh?
Mhm.
Every single day, I just want to scream. So I have to start that day out with praying. That God, we're going to war today. We're going to war. Make sure I got the bullets
Mhm.
to grip that gospel gun. Because there's days I don't want to. I just want to veg out and watch TV, and man, it's affected everything.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to watch TV the other day and kind of watch the same things that I'm used to. And I get through like 20 minutes and I'm like, that's not good. It's not even like nude scenes or anything like that. It's just the things that they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not entertaining to me anymore.
Right. Right.
Because what you consume is what you put out. And
Yep.
it's like, it's just not as entertaining as it once was, where I was. And don't get me wrong, there's still things that probably wouldn't be preached about from the pulpit that I watch that are hysterically funny, and I still get laughing till I cry. But there's some of the things that I'm just like, horror movies aren't the same for me no more.
Yeah.
Because I see the satanic messages that come through those things, and I'm like, well, that's probably not a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere. Man.
It's everywhere. Even some of the dark comedies that I'm like, boo. Yeah.
I've noticed that with a lot of music that I've listened to. I've stopped listening
That's
to
a huge. That's
And
a
I've-
huge one.
I've dabbled back and forth between Christian music, and then I go back and listen to some of my old music.
It's not.
It's not the same.
No.
No.
It doesn't.
I still
doesn't-
like Korn, but some of their music, I'm like, I could probably not listen to that very
Mhm.
much.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
skip that one.
Yeah.
I mean, Antone turned me on to Co Wetzel. But you know what? As soon as you did that, he decided to get sober.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, maybe it's not so bad. And then my favorite song was the new one, High Road.
Oh yeah.
And I sing that in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
Right? when it, because I have that blue speaker I put in my bathroom, and I love singing in the shower. And so I need a ticket to your, I'm like, I bleep it out myself because my shower is in my kitchen. So yeah, it's weird. It's an old house. It used to just be one
big room.
unit, and it never had a bathroom when it was built.
Is that
My
how-
father-in-law went out to the outhouse until he was 7. So then they added it on, and it's just part of the dining room, which is not guy. Oh man, one day, God willing. Thank you, Lord, for all the many blessings that I have. But you be eating dinner, and somebody's like, "Ooh, let me go to the bathroom." And you're just not cool, man. Like it's not cool.
I know.
We only have one bathroom, which Lord bless me with patience. I'm about to have 3 girls in that house.
Dude,
One bathroom.
you need to build a new bathroom or
That's all. By the grace
reerect
of
that.
God, that's all
outhouse.
God. If God wants me to have another bathroom, I'll have one. If not, He said you're a man and you can pee outside. And there's a bucket in the corner if you need to go outside and take a little teepee with you. Sit on a bucket.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, where were we going with that before we talked about the bathroom in my kitchen?
Music. We were on
You like
music.
Oh yeah,
Wetzel?
singing in the shower. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, how many of you guys got Spotify? How many of you guys do Spotify?
I have
Yeah,
Spotify.
Spotify.
I know you got your Wrapped for the year.
Yeah.
Apple
So
Music.
every year, okay. I got.
Did they give you year wrap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does Apple do the year Wrap
Uh-huh.
too? So does
I
So
didn't know
does,
that.
so does
Yeah.
YouTube Music.
Okay, well they gave me mine, and mine was. So it's funny because it before it leads up to that, it'll give you like the past 3 years. Like here was your 22, here's your 23, and here's your 20. And so I was listening to the 22, and it was a mixture of Wetzel and Korn and gospel music. Then in 23, it was a little more gospel music mixed in with George Strait, Chris Ledoux, things like that. This year, it was just like straight. Everything was like, you listen to this most. I was in the top 1 percentile. Listened to like 257,000 minutes of music, or hours, or whatever that is.
Mhm.
And then it was all Shane and Shane, and then Mercy Me, and this. It was all the list going through the whole deal was all Christian music,
Yeah.
because that's how I like to start. I put my headphones on, I go out and do chores, and I love starting my day with gospel music.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just like with you attracting those type of people around you.
Mm-hmm.
You'll start attracting those positive habits too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you actually make a choice to do that.
Well,
you
it's so true. I used to think when my parents and everything were like, you listen to that junk in the morning, like no wonder you're always mad, or what you're putting in is what you're putting out.
know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's
No,
super.
it's not.
super
It's
powerful.
so true.
It
You
is.
start your day with gospel music.
You're
you
happy.
might have woke up in a bad attitude going to do chores, but you're skipping to the door.
Mm-hmm.
You stop punching them goats,
Yeah. No, you start your day out with positive music and not screaming hate music
Yeah.
or got drunk and my wife's a bad person music, which a lot of that music is. I mean, that's the whole thing. But
You could have went with
road,
like
high road.
my dog left me and my truck.
It's basically the whole thing. But that,
You're like
that high road is
punching
about
my
a bad
wife.
relationship. What's his Morgan Wallen? Last night we're not that's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're starting your day with that, like, you know what? I really don't even like my significant other that much. For be honest with you, I can't apply any of that to my life anymore because, yeah, my wife doesn't fit those songs.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in a lot of relationships that I think they wrote the songs about, but you start your day out with good Christian music. There ain't nothing better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially when it's like, I don't know if you guys listen to Shane and Shane, but they sing like old hymns and stuff, and they have a CD that's just the book of like they're singing the Psalms,
Hmm.
and they're two guys just that look like us. And it's one guy on a guitar and another guy that's singing, and it's really cool. You have to look them up, Shane and Shane. They got really good gospel music, but no, I like it. That's how I like to start my day out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We should start a boy band.
Okay. A Christian boy band?
Yeah.
Wasn't that who
the Christian version of NSYNC,
Yeah.
they already had that. That's
Backstreet Boys.
that's what what's that Christian rapper name? Toby Mac. That's what he was in. And look up band Toby Mac was in with the Newsboys guy. That was the boy band Christian band when I was young man.
They don't have that no more though.
No, they're obviously not. There's Toby Mac and now
We'll call it Out of Sync.
Out of sync.
no. Look up his first group. DC Talk. Yep.
What does that mean?
I don't know. They were a boy band.
Discovery Canyon talk.
I don't know. Look up what DC Talk means. He hasn't
I
done
thought.
anything.
Yeah, I thought that's what we were doing.
You called Justin Timberlake?
For what?
For a boy band.
Oh. Oh, you get to be just. I was like, what did you got his phone number? Did he answer? What did he say? Like,
JT.
just like we did a whole podcast. You're like, well, I called Justin Timberlake.
You called him. What'd he say?
and I'm still affirming all this stuff, and you called Justin Timberlake? I don't know. Maybe it's
Direct
District
current voice.
District of Columbia.
Definitely Christian voice or whatever.
Something deep.
Something like
DC
that.
Talk.
DC
I don't know what it
DC
was,
Talk.
Direct.
but they
current talk.
were like the first breakout group that made like
Are there
Christian
any
music
new
that
boy
went
bands?
to they went
Christian
to
boy
mainstream.
bands?
Mm-hmm.
They had their song called Jesus Freak, and then
Can you sing it for
Newsboys
us?
redid it. Yeah, what would people think if they seen
You
that
gotta,
album,
like, actually
Jesus
sing
Freak? What would people think? That's how you sing it.
I don't know it. I was just doing what you I was just mocking you.
All right.
All right.
I don't know. It's just DC talk. Maybe that's all it is. They don't-
Is there any what's the new age Christian boy
Groups
band?
now?
Boy band.
Skillet.
Yeah,
There's a girl in
Skillet's
that
a good
band.
There's two of them.
Yeah.
Skillet
And
is
one of them's his wife.
Yeah.
So doesn't count.
Which one is his wife?
The
bass player?
There you
Oh,
go. Yeah.
I didn't even
Yeah.
know
Rick
that.
was like, it's a drummer. I'm like, no, it's not.
No, the drummer's married to
Okay.
the guitar player.
I know. What? Lifehouse. Yeah, they are a Christian band. So is We Were Meant to Live for So Much More.
Switchfoot.
Yeah, Switchfoot. Yeah, those guys. See, I sang that one.
And we lost ourselves.
Yeah. I don't know the rest of the words. I'd
It's
butcher
a
it.
good song.
Yeah. You guys have no idea who that is, do you?
No, I
No.
don't.
It's more.
Anthem Lights.
Oh, yeah.
What is that?
That's
Those are
us.
like an a cappella group, I think.
We can't read it. We can't see it, bro. Zoom in.
Huh.
That's gonna be us.
yes, it is.
I like
Bro,
We the Kingdom. Look at We the Kingdom.
can you not zoom in on that?
Oh, that's not a boy band, though. Never mind. Never mind.
I mean, it's two brothers.
We the Kingdom? No, that's oh,
Yeah. Yeah. That's two
That's
brothers.
for King and Country, dude.
Oh, yeah.
They're Australian.
Are they?
Yeah, and I like their music. And then Rick was like, they sang at Joel Osteen's church. Not listening to them. They won't turn all their CDs. I'm like, great.
See, for Kings and
Jars of
Country.
Clay, yeah.
Jars of Clay. Yeah.
Yeah, for King and Country, they're brothers. Two boys. I like, yeah, no, I like. Okay, get off that website. Get off that website. What do you like? What, you like a Christian rap now? Is that what you're listening to?
I listen to
Ooh,
KB.
You know, Stanley. What's his name?
I like NF and
NF. Well, yeah, he's
But
good.
then NF disappointed me. I watched the interview and he's
Wow.
like, I'm really tired of people saying I'm a Christian artist. I'm not a Christian artist.
Steven Stanley.
Well, stop singing about Jesus then if you're not a Christian artist.
Steven Stanley on there. NF is on there. Look, rappers.
I know, but
Christianity.
he gets mad in an interview. He's like, I really wish they wouldn't put me on that list.
Dude, zoom in more, bro.
And then I watched Lecrae's podcast. That's pretty good.
Lecrae is
Yeah, they
good.
got-
KB is good.
Yeah, KB is really good.
Bizzle.
Where's no, I don't know. Andy Mino, he's good. Kanye,
Propaganda.
dude, Kanye West is on there.
Kanye West is on there.
Tadashi's really good. He's good.
Kirk Franklin. I like him though. He's
T-Bone, dude.
Oh, T-Bone.
What's that? Remember that movie with Cuba Gooding Jr.?
Eminem's on there
Yeah.
right there.
Where they're like
Hey.
T-Bone's in
Get
that one.
off of there.
Take me now to the river. You remember
I
that
know.
movie, dude?
There's this
The big, tall,
yeah.
black dude. He's like super high voice. He's like scary the whole time. Take me down.
There's this group that's on TikTok that's like, imagine coming into the church and this was the worship team, and they're as a couple of black guys, and then but they're a Christian like metal band, but they're doing metal
Oh,
music to
yeah.
hymns,
Yep.
and it sounds good, like
Mhm.
it's really good. But I looked them up on Spotify, and you can listen to about 2 songs, and you're like, this is a lot of screaming. Like I don't have a voice anymore. But I think those are pretty cool.
Holy Name is a good.
Your sister used to send me Christian rappers. And
She
I don't
did?
know. Yeah, because I got a couple of them saved on my phone because they have this "Our God is an awesome God," but it's a rap song.
trap.
Oh, I've heard that song before. I can't remember his name, but I know what song you're
It
talking
used to be
about.
my ringtone, and he just raps pretty fast. But then yeah, she hasn't done that in a long time. We'll pray for her. That's all we can do is pray for her.
Yeah.
That's all we can do is
All right, Theo.
Podcast. What have you been listening to? Nothing.
The Sean Ryan Show.
Oh, that's a good. Oh yeah, you got me.
Fantastic.
That's like if you got 5 hours of your day.
I listen to it in increments.
I know, me too. I listen to
Yeah,
it.
it's
Did
fantastic.
you listen to him on Joe Rogan?
Part of it. I haven't
He was
finished it.
on Joe Rogan's podcast, and now tonight's podcast with Joe Rogan was a guy who was on Sean Ryan, the mercenary of the Prince of Death or something like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's got a white beard and he gets shooting training now.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, I didn't give a crap. I just walk in there and whatever, pull bodies out.
Yeah.
Okay. He's on Joe Rogan tonight, so
Okay.
that's pretty good. Did everybody watch the Donald Trump Joe Rogan?
Mm-hmm. That was fantastic.
That was
interview.
great. Yeah, it was.
Fantastic.
I'm sorry the election didn't go your way, Kevin, but it was good.
I didn't vote.
Really?
No, I didn't.
Oh. Yeah. So what do you think about that? People who
No, but I do want to say one thing. Sorry to cut you off.
no, you're good.
I mean, it's Kevin Mesta show.
Listen, not libertarians, constitutionalists. Why don't we vote for them?
Because that's not the way the government has it set up. It's a
They
two-party system
believe
now.
in God and the Bible, dude.
I know it's not up to us apparently because the government makes it a two-party system.
Yeah, but what if we all vote for constitutionalists and then they become on the two parties?
You would have to convince the rest of the world because me, you,
The world.
and Theo, or I mean,
Yeah, the
United
world. They don't
States.
vote in our election.
Well,
Democrats have their way to do.
let's not get crazy.
So, yeah,
I don't know. I just like.
I mean, think of it. RFK Jr. ran as an independent and got nowhere.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like that's
Just because the government's got it set up the way it is.
how do we
And it's going
change
to be
it?
we would love to, but we are not going to get nothing done unless you convince everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, you could start a movement. Why not? Do it.
Yeah, do it.
I mean,
Why
you
don't you do
could,
it? You're
but
not.
realistically, the thing is yeah,
That
we do.
Todd's not going to leave this room. He's already exhausted
No, I-
from thinking about
Yes.
it. Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
Go ahead.
I forgot.
Yeah, I
Wait, no. Dude.
Oh yeah. I think the statistic was something along the lines of it was like 60 or 70% of Christians don't vote in the elections. 'cause
Yeah,
they
I did
say
hear that.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was a
I
big
did
deal.
hear
They
that.
just say that it's in God's hands.
Yeah.
So what do we think about that?
That's like
I think
Christian
that's
scientists that
not
say
good.
don't go to the doctor if you're sick.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a smart move.
No, I think it's as Christians and as Americans, it's our duty to go out there and vote for things. Yes, obviously it's in God's hands.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it is. But we have been granted a grace of freedom that we have to go out there and vote.
Mm-hmm.
And if Christians don't vote, then they can't get mad for people that come in and put in laws in place that allow 9-month abortions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
As Christians, it is our duty to fight against those evils that are, I'm not going to say the Democratic Party because I don't believe everybody in the Democratic Party is evil. I don't believe that everybody in the Democratic Party even supports all of that stuff.
Mhm.
But it's us, our jobs as Christians to be on the front lines to not only poll for these people that are, because Trump's not all the way pro-life.
Right.
No.
He's just not because he's playing the game. But
He's
it's a
not
little less
pro-life.
evil than what the Democratic Party was pushing.
Yeah, but he's not pro-life to the extent of the government shouldn't make that decision.
Right.
It should be in the states.
But if it's
So-
going one way or the other, I think it's our Christian duty to stand up and fight for the rights of those unborn kids.
Yeah.
And by sitting at home and saying, well, it's in God's hands.
And not
Yeah,
voting.
it is. But not doing anything, that's like saying, I don't need to evangelize because it's in God's hands.
Mhm. Well, that's the thing. I mean, you can look at it. The way I like to think about it is that our life is like we're on a boat in a river,
Mm-hmm.
right? God is steering, but it won't go anywhere if we don't row.
Exactly.
And so we have to be rowing. We have to be making, we
And
have
the
to
thing
be
of it is,
active for anything to
I
happen.
could get super Calvinistic on this thing and say that
Super
there's-
Calvinistic extra salvadosis.
there's they believe in election. God elects people who are going to heaven, and God also wills people to go to hell. You're born and you could be going to hell. That's just a part of it. But if not, what did you do now? But does that mean I sit back and don't evangelize because God knows who's going to heaven and who's not?
Well, and that's the thing too. I mean, God doesn't send anybody to hell, right?
No.
People choose to go there
Right.
because
If you go to hell, it's your own damn fault. That's what
Yeah.
my disciple thing.
it's true. Because God was kind enough to choose to limit His power to give us free will.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because if we couldn't, if we were forced to love God, it would be love,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
But in God's irresistible grace, you cannot. So, are you still laughing at your supercalifragilisticexpialidocious joke?
I'm crying right now, dude.
It's your own self.
That's the
You're
problem.
laughing at yourself.
I didn't even say it right.
I know you said it way wrong.
It just came out, dude.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
But you said
super
Calvinistic. So it's not a
Calvinist.
go super
Calvinist.
Calvinistic on y'all right now, and I was like, super
It
Calvinistic.
had nothing to do with it. Oh boy.
Oh.
Oh boy. Well, guys, I'm glad we got the crew back together. I'm glad we got it's like the band getting back together and going out for a reunion tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we got the new band member because the other one OD'd.
I OD'd.
No,
Oh.
you're not. You're
Oh.
here. You're alive. It's like when you have a reunion tour, but only 3 of the band guys are still around.
Right, like Motley Crue when they kicked.
And so
Vince
there's a
Neil
new
out.
guy. Yeah, so there's a new guy in there that's a part of the reunion tour, but he's the new guy.
Right, he wasn't actually part of it.
No, man, it's amazing to see this grow. And one day, we may not be in this studio. If God leads us in that direction, we may have a studio somewhere in a different building. Right now, we take free things from the church. So, but no, they haven't said anything. They just let us do our thing in here,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and we set it up. And then, man, it's all coming together. Theo got the camera, which now we know lasts an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And Brandon came. He hasn't been here in a while. I mean, he's like the band member that went to rehab
Like 6 times.
and he came like 6 times, and then he came back. And he's, I promised I was gonna be different. It's gonna be different. We're like, well, until you change your ways, you're not on camera. They just ruined the whole podcast. They're like, we were hanging with them until that happened.
Yeah.
But no, man, it's good. We're super proud of you, Antone, man. Keep up the good work. Keep
Yeah,
us
you.
posted. Stop ignoring our texts.
Yeah. You don't call, you don't write.
Then out of the blue, you send a meme, and I'm like, how am I supposed to react to this? Yeah, no, man. We love you, man. We just want to keep you encouraged too. I don't listen to half the stuff he sends anyway, so don't feel bad.
He doesn't listen to anything I said.
Well, do you know the thing? I mean, I get why you guys do it. You send those songs through the Apple podcast or the Apple Music thing, like, and you share it. And I'm like,
You can play a little bit of it.
it doesn't ever do it for. I'm like, this is dumb. And so I know that I can look it up and listen to the song, but I'm like, no.
You don't listen. You don't listen to the sample.
I just rather have my AI DJ pick my music. I don't need to worry about
Your
it.
Spotify DJ, AI DJ.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? This is X.
This is your DJ.
Back in 1994, this is what you're like. I'm like, no. Like, I have Spotify connected to the church, and I'm always paranoid that it's going to run out of that playlist and go into one of my old playlists.
Yeah.
And like Adidas from Korn's going to come on them. Like, I can't get to the stairs fast enough. All day long, I dream about. No, please. But man, Theo, I feel like you have this microphone and you don't ever talk into it.
Well, you two usually talk, so
All right, then. Settle down.
Take
No,
it
man, Theo,
easy.
man, it's great to have you back joining us, man. You're encouraging. We'd love to have you here.
well, thank you.
Antone, like I said, man, keep flying high, bro.
Thanks.
Like we
Yeah.
want a street smart jet.
One thing I want to say is, don't fall into the trap of being a lone wolf,
Mhm.
because in nature, when that happens, that's when they go to die. That lone wolf is like, that's the end. They do that to the old dog.
I feel like this is the same thing Zach Galifianakis said in Hangover.
Or Between Two Ferns.
Or what he's like.
But that's,
the wolf.
I mean, we're not meant to do that. When dogs or wolves, they are on the end and they go to die, they go find themselves and go alone. Humans, we are social creatures and we need our brothers. And if we're lucky enough to have a wife and close family like that, it's important to ensure that you foster those relationships and just as you do with Christ every
Mhm.
day. Because if you don't, you're going to find yourself lost.
And plus, on top of that, when you do become a lone wolf, it's hard to get back into that social group.
Mhm. But once you find a good group that's Christ-based, Christ-centered, they will always have their arms open for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the most important thing. You're never alone.
We're all wide open.
Yeah, Creed.
No, that's good stuff, man. Well, guys, I love you guys so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming back and hanging out with us. You got to come back again after your school's done.
Mhm.
Let us
Anytime.
know how it goes. Come back.
Will do.
We'll figure out how to get you zoomed in a couple of times if we can while you're just hanging out on your couch.
Yeah, how does that work with your privacy, bro? Is that
There's none.
There's none, but he's studying all the time. But
Yeah, I don't really do anything besides study and fly. So
that
that's
keeps
all
you
good,
that
man.
keeps you on point? That's an accountability thing right there.
yeah,
too.
Yeah.
man. No,
Yeah, it is.
I appreciate that, guys. And as always, guys, hit it up. Scan that QR code. There it is. All right.
Did you
Scan
need
that QR code,
need
man.
to
When
look
you
at the
guys
picture.
support my ministry with FCA, you're supporting this ministry. You're supporting Street Smart Christian. You're supporting Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And man, it would be so awesome to have you guys scan that. You guys can choose your donations as big or as small, monthly, one time, whatever it is. If anything, I'm just asking for prayers. Pray for me, pray for my family, pray for these guys, pray for those out there who are searching to know Christ. Pray for just pray. But if you're going to talk about it,
Be about it.
Yeah.
yeah.